So, good afternoon. It's nearly to 12 o'clock. So, back to the class on tribology. So, what we studied in the last class, do anyone remember? Can just tell me in a glance? Anyone in the class, please? Quickly. Basically, in the last class, we dealt about various researchers who have put forward many comments related to the friction and who was the person who invented the name coefficient of friction. It was Leonhard Euler. And later, what are the impacts and how the energy is dissipated with respect to the equal amount of sliding or frictional force which is coming into picture. So many researchers presented their own statement. Some told the friction arises in the smooth surface, some told it might arise in rough surface, and later Desegler and Coulomb substantiated saying that the frictional effect depends mainly on the contact zone in between the two moving components. So after this basic concepts, we dealt about the interactions which usually come about in dissipation of energy, which is nothing but our asparity interactions. One is due to the adhesion and due to the deformation. So when you have an adhesion, you'll be having a proper bonding. So based on the contact area, you'll be having the variations with respect to the movement of the body. Similarly, when there is no adhesion, we went on related to the deformation concept. So without adhesion, when it is rotating against each other with or without the presence of lubricant, then deformation arises. And this deformation can be at microscopic level or it could be macroscopic. In case of bulk materials, it is only the macroscopic interaction what we get, that is with respect to the flowing. I'll be explaining you little later. So when we speak about the asperities, the interaction or the deformation which we come across is limited only to microscopic. So we dealt also that this adhesion and deformation varies with respect to the shape, size, hardness of the material what we are selecting, right? And after this, we dealt about one frictional theory which was described by Borden and Taylor, the simple adhesion theory. It was simple, understandable, but it had some flaws also. So we dealt about what are its drawbacks. Yeah, inadvocacies related to the frictional theory put forward by Borden. So we have done until here. So as a need, there were some drawbacks in the adhesion theory. There was a need to modify this particular adhesion theory. So this adhesion theory is modified with respect to the junction growth. I hope you have heard the word about the junction growth. So what are the modification needed? This also we have explained in the last class. Today, we were supposed to start up with the junction growth. So in order to understand how the adhesion theory is modified, we should know what is junction growth. So this junction growth is associated with our Morse circle. So this Morse circle you have studied already in your strength of materials classes, where you have studied different plane stresses, shear stress in relation, how do you evaluate. So the same concept is being used for our modified adhesion theory concept. So this junction growth was explained or introduced by the person Tabor in 1959. Okay, so what it is exactly? Here it was realized that when you have a material which is flowing, okay, when you have two components which has been rubbing and you have a material which is in flow in between, what happens is the effect of the increasing the area of junction without the needing to increase the normal force. So what do you understand? So here you can see an material, a grain, which is on a surface. So when it is continuously rotating, it results in sliding or revolving. It results in the normal stress, right? And here you will be having the frictional force which coming into the picture in the opposite direction. So this force will be always tangential. Okay, so what you have to understand here is this is basically related to the Morse circle what you have studied already. The main concept what you have to understand is when you have a material flow of material which is rubbing, and when it is rubbing, and if there is an increase in the contact area, then it results in the formation of junction growth, because this type of junction growth comes into picture when you don't have an adhesion layer. You have two surfaces without any adhesion. So rubbing of this surface helps for the deformation. So due to the deformation, there will be change in the object for geometry. So due to the change in the object geometry across the area of contact, the area of junction, the junction increases across the area of contact, and this increased area will be due to the junction growth. This junction growth helps in getting more area of contact. In that case, the tangential force will be more than that of the normal force. The normal force get reduced and the tangential force will be more. Okay, this position is related to our junction growth, which occurs when there is no adhesion and only deformation is coming into the picture. Okay, so the normal stress across this junction is very much less and it is compressive type. So that is related to our Morse circle growth. So in Morse circle, with respect to junction growth, always we assume that the tangential stress is reduced to zero. Okay, so when you have the tangential stress reduced to zero, you will be having the minimum compressible normal stress into it. So at that case, when you have one more stress which is coming across the tangential, then a shear stress also comes into the picture. So that way we'll see further. Now, the word junction growth arises due to the deformation when the components are revolving without an adhesion layer. So that helps in penetration of the material across the surface of contact. And as a result, due to this increase of contact, there will be some growth or penetration of the asperities across the surface. That leads for enhancement in the contact area, which is nothing but the junction growth. Always junction growth comes into picture with respect to our tangential stress and the normal stress. So when the junction growth comes into picture, the normal stress will be comparatively lesser and tangential stress will be assumed to be negligible, or you can say it is reduced to zero. So this is just the concept of understanding the junction growth. Okay, so with respect to that, now some adhesion theory is being modified. That is only the concept of junction growth. After knowing the junction growth, you have to come back to our modified adhesion theory. So here, if you just consider an element, okay, which is subjected to an uniaxial compression. The compression could be biaxial or uniaxial. So you are compressing the given element only in one direction. So that is through the normal stress. Due to uniaxial compression, you will be having the normal stress. So this normal stress could be considered now as the P naught. So you have an element which is compressed uniaxially across the normal stress, okay, direction. So that normal stress will be referred from hereafter as P naught. And we assume it to be as a point of yielding. So this is considered as an yielding stress. So you have an element which is subjected to the compression in one direction by the normal stress. And this normal stress is considered to be as P naught, and the same P naught is considered to be as the yield strength. Okay, so this yield strength remains the same in any direction you measure of. So with respect to the yield strength, now you have a tangential stress which is applied. So you have a normal stress. With respect to that, you will be having a tangential stress applied to it. So when you apply a tangential stress with respect to the yield stress, you will come across an additional stress, what we call it as shear stress. So this shear stress will be represented by the letter S. Okay. So Now, when the shear stress comes into picture, but still you will claim that the material which was subjected to compression remains at the point of yielding. Okay. So the point of yielding was across the normal stress on the element. But now the point of yielding will be reduced by some value P1. This I told you already when I explained you the junction growth concept. First, you'll be having an element subjected to compression along a particular direction across the normal stress, that will be referred as P naught. So that P naught will be nothing but our point of yielding. But along with that, if you apply a tangential stress, then what happens? You will come across an additional shear stress. When additional shear stress comes with respect to the normal stress, then the yielding stress, what we claimed as P naught, will be now reduced by some value P1. So value of the yield stress will reduce when the shear stress comes into picture. Okay. So the normal load, what you apply remains constant. You will not be changing the load anything more. But still, due to this shear stress, the area of contact will grow. Area of contact is nothing but the junction growth in between the two mechanical components which are rolling or sliding. So the area of contact between the two components will grow due to the shear stress. So this phenomenon is nothing but our junction growth. So now, once you understand the junction growth for our adhesion theory, then as per Tresca's criteria, we have to find now the relation between P1, P0 and S. So P0 is nothing but our yield stress. And P1 is the value which it gets reduced with respect to the shear stress. And S is nothing but our shear stress. So based on Tresca's criteria also you have studied already in your SOM classes or mechanics of materials. So what do you mean by Tresca's criteria? So it is nothing but saying the yield will occur at a critical value of maximum shear stress. First, we assumed when you compress, you will be having a yield stress across the normal stress, right? So now when you apply the shear stress, I told you that the normal stress gets reduced. So now, reduced by some value P1. And hence, Tresca's criteria tells that the yield value will occur at the shear stress where it is maximum. So the point at which the yielding occurs at maximum shear stress is called as Tresca's criteria. This happens only with the presence of shear stress when you have a tangential force. Okay. So this maximum shear stress always occurs due to some micromechanical behavior. What is this micromechanical behavior? So this happens within the crystal of the mechanical components what you are using for revolving, for rolling or slipping operation. Okay, so this happens basically when there is a dislocation in the movement across the rolling component, or it has any slip movement when it is sliding with respect to each other. So small variation will occur in the micromechanical aspect of the crystal. So due to this micromechanical behavior change within the crystal of the machine component, the shear stress comes into picture. So where the maximum shear stress is, at that location, you will have the yield stress. Okay, so this point is nothing but our Tresca's criteria. So based on Tresca's criteria, so this is the equation what we follow. So P1 square will be equal to 4 times the S square is equal to P0 square. So this is a relation what we have to follow to evaluate the yield stress and the value of P1 when the shear stress comes into the picture. Okay, so this equation is derived as per the Tresca's criteria. You no need to derive this. So when you start telling the modified adhesion theory, this derivation, everything is done in SOM class already in the Tresca's criteria, everything. So now we are clubbing each subject concepts into our frictional theory. So that is the funda of knowing the subjects known and putting it into the right place. So based on our Tresca's criteria, this is the equation. So we have now come across a relationship between P1S and P0 with respect to the junction growth by keeping in mind our Tresca's criteria. And then you need to form one more relationship with the same parameters, P1S and P0. So that is related to the von Mises yield criteria. So von Mises stress also, you know. What do you mean by it? So von Mises stress is also used basically to predict the yielding of specific materials under complex loading conditions. Okay, so you can load the material in normal and also above the upper limit of the capacity of the material to bear the load. So when you have the material capability to bear a complex point of loading, so then again variation will occur with respect to the yield stress and all. Okay, and also it depends upon what the results you get in the uniaxial tensile test as well. So based on von Mises stress, you will be deriving an equation for our P1S and P0 by considering the scalar value of the stresses. So this scalar value of the stresses will be computed only by Cauchy stress tensor. So don't worry about the in-depth description about the Cauchy stress tensor. Because this is studied already, you will just say based on von Mises stress, you will be providing an or predicting the equation for yielding of a material under complex load. For that, you will be using the scalar values which are originated or computed by Cauchy stress tensor. So based on that, this is the equation what we have to use. So if they are asking you the von Mises yield criteria, then you have to show the relationship between P1S and P0 using this equation. If they are asking you the equation related to P1, P0 and S for our yield stress based on Tresca's criteria, then you have to show this equation. Even though both the equations sounds little bit different with respect to the stress configuration, here it is 4s square and here it is equal to 3s square, but still you will yield with same type of conclusions of the value for the coefficient of our stress. Okay, so once you are aware with these two equations, you will slightly fine tune it. You know that P is nothing but the yield stress or normal stress. So that stress will be equal to nothing but our load upon the cross-sectional area where it is subjected, right? So P1 will be equal to W by A. And similarly, stress will be equal to the force upon the area on which the stress is being induced. So now in place of P1, you will replace it with W by A. And similarly, in place of S, you will replace with F upon A. And then you will see, so you'll be having W upon A plus 4 times F upon A. So it is W square, I'm sorry, W square upon A, okay, plus 4 F square upon A is equal to P0 square. Then you will take the LCM, simplify everything, and you shift A square here towards your right hand side. So the equation gets leaded to W square plus 4F square is equal to A square into P0 square. So this will be the equation what you have to show in relation to both the Tresca's criteria as well as von Mises yield criteria. For both the things, you can replace the value of P1 as W by A and S as F by A and get the equation as requirement. Is this clear? Hello? No response. Are you people there? Hello? Siddharth?
Yes, ma'am.
You are there?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you people understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, kindly be listening to the class regularly, don't jump anywhere else. Okay, if you don't understand the concepts, it will be difficult. So once you understand the Tresca's criteria as well as the von Mansfield criteria, then we have to further come to a conclusion how we get the COF, the coefficient of friction for the given material based on these two criteria. So for that, what we do is, you will just take an example of a typical deadweight sliding experiment. So here you will consider W to be constant, while P naught is a property of a material. Okay, P is nothing but the stress value. The yield stress varies with respect to the material what you are selecting. So you will be having a sample or a design or an element which is made up of specific material. So the yield stress of that material, which is P naught, depends upon which material you have selected. And you are using a typical deadweight sliding experiment. So the weight what you will be applying, you will be considering that as a constant. Okay. So here the real area of the contact will increase with the increasing tangential force. Suppose you have a device here, a surface of one mechanical component, and you will be applying a load on it. So the load what you apply is constant, but the contact area of the load across the surface will depend. Okay, and but that area of contact depends with respect to the tangential force what you are applying. Okay, so due to this tangential force, you can have the variation in the area of contact, and hence the ratio W upon F, which is instantaneously our value of coefficient of friction also increases. Okay, so force upon load will keep on increasing based on the tangential force what you are applying. So based on the force only, some COF value you will get with respect to the force applied and what is the dead weight you are applying. So that will yield you the COF value. So based on the force applied, you will be getting the variation in the coefficient of friction for that particular material. So due to increase in the coefficient of friction, what happens? The growth, the junction growth across the contact area also increases, and this can increase continuously if you are enhancing the tangential force to the upper limit. But it will not be possible in every cases practically. Why? Because it mainly depends upon how ductile your material is. And what about the presence of interfacial films limit? Okay, so what do you mean by it? The weak interfacial films. Whenever you have two rolling components, you'll be having some lubricant film between it which acts as an interfacial media. Or else you'll be having an adhesive layer which acts as an layer in between the rolling components, so that will control the amount of asperities across the surface. So in that case, the stress transferred will be reduced. But if you don't have any interfacial film or very weak interfacial film, then at that case it is difficult to increase the junction growth because the surface gets ruptured very quickly. You will be having various cracks across the points. So you can't get the uniform junction growth. So if you get the uniform junction growth, the contact area between the two components will increase, right? And as a result, it helps in growing the contact area and reducing some amount of stress. But it is not possible practically in all the cases because all the materials will not be very ductile in nature, and they won't be having a proper interfacial film either in case of lubricant or an adhesive layer. So due to this constraint, the junction growth cannot take place continuously with respect to the tangential force what you are applying. So it will be having some constraints within which the growth can happen. So there will be some limiting tangential force. With respect to that, the limited or the constrained junction growth can occur in between the rolling components, and as a result, the amount of stress could be reduced, due to which the amount of friction also will be reduced, and there will be a good smooth of flowing in between the two rolling components. So this you have to understand. So once this is being understood, what is the last part you have to identify is what is the maximum shear strength value which can be figured out in a given bulk material. Okay, so this is again based on the weak interface. So weak interface, I told you, it could be a very thin lubricant layer or a very thin adhesive layer which acts as an interfacial film, or a small or an interface between the two rolling components. So the effect of weak interface can be modeled always by assuming it will fail at some shear stress value. So obviously when the film is very thin, it will fail at particular shear stress. It will not be having a capacity to bear a large amount of shear stress. If you have a good interfacial film in between the two rolling components, then it can bear the shear stress to the upper limit and then it will fail. But if there is no film at all, or if there is a very weak interfacial film, then easily it gets failed at a very less or medium value of shear stress. So that value will be referred to be as SI. Okay, and this SI will be lesser than the shear strength of the bulk material. The shear strength of the bulk material will be different for different material. If you are using a single material, then you can check in its specification what is the shear strength of this particular material. If you are combining like 3 to 4 materials together to form a composite material or a smart material or whatever it is, then it will be having an functionalized value for its particular shear strength. So that shear strength value of a specific material in combination will be higher than that of the SI value. So SI value of a particular material will be very less in comparison to the shear strength of the material in bulk. SI is nothing but the minimum shear stress value where the material fails due to weak interfacial film. So before concept what we explained that you have already studied. So now we are interrelating that junction growth concept to identify where the mechanical component which is revolving or sliding will fail. So that is due to the weak interface which happens, and if you need to do a modeling equation to it, so this is the equation what we follow. So F max will be nothing but the maximum shear strength value. So that will be equal to the area of the given sample or the element or the device into the minimum shear stress value, which is SI, across which the material fails. So this is the equation what you have to understand. And you know that mu is equal to F upon W. So W is nothing but the normal stress. Okay. So which is the self weight of the body. So if you need to figure out the coefficient of friction, then you can use the equation F max upon W. So before that, you should know what you mean by S naught. So S naught is nothing but the shear yield stress of the bulk material. So what is the yield strength of the bulk material? So that is explained by the word S naught. SI is the minimum shear stress value and S naught is the maximum shear strength value of a particular bulk material which remains same when you measure in any direction, provided the material is isotropic. Okay. So this is again designed with respect to the Tresca yield criteria, what I explained you before. So at Tresca yield criteria, the yield stress P naught will be equal to twice the stress at the same point. So this is based on the Tresca yield criteria. So based on the Tresca yield criteria and based on the shear strength of the bulk material, it is being derived for coefficient of friction as F max upon W. So F max value you have already A into SI and divided by the value of W. So here the W value is related to the stress, shear stress. So that shear stress, you have the ratio of the maximum shear stress and the failure shear stress. So you have a small derivation to get this equation. So that derivation is not necessary for you. After showing the equation for shear strength at bulk material, you will just tell that the shear strength of the bulk material is represented as S naught, and as per the Tresca's yield criteria, you have this equation. So using Fmax and these parameters, finally the coefficient of friction was derived as the equation shown here. So here the weight which has been subjected on the mechanical component is showing the parameters both for yield shear strength as well as the failure shear strength for that specific material. After simplification, you will get this equation. So this is for obtaining the coefficient of friction value based on the shear strength of the bulk material after considering the concept of junction growth with respect to the Tresca's yield criteria. So this is just the modifying aspect. Okay. So, and after this, few concepts you have to understand related to this. What are those? So when you have an interface between the two mechanical components, and if it has the same shear strength as that of the bulk material, then what happens is M is nothing but coefficient of friction. So the coefficient of friction becomes infinite as the junction growth is unlimited. I told you junction growth can be increased until and unless you can apply the tangential stress to it, but provided the material should be very ductile. So depending upon the ductility nature of the material, the junction growth increases. If it is very ductile, then it can achieve the junction growth towards infinity, unlimited. When it happens, when the interface has the same shear strength as that of the bulk material. What do you mean by this? The minimum shear strength failure and the maximum strength of the bulk material, if both are same, then the junction growth can reach infinity. So it can continuously increase the junction growth. It means to say when the mechanical components are revolving, the contact area between the two components will be increasing. So it will be having a proper adhesion layer, a smooth flow for a longer run with reduced amount of friction. This will not happen in every material. It mainly depends upon the ductility of the specific material. Okay. So this is when the junction growth becomes infinite. That will not be possible in practical. So when we want to speak in practicality, then you should always say that the interference will be weak. I told you that across the interference, when it is weak, you have the shear strength value where the material fails. So that is nothing but our SI. Okay. So in that case, our coefficient of friction will fall within the finite range. So that is measured by the ratio of SI by SO. So this is the failure shear strength to that of maximum shear strength of a specific material. In this case, you can tell that the coefficient of friction is within the finite range and the junction growth is limited in this case. It cannot be unlimited because it fits itself within the ratio of SI and SO. Only when SI and SO is same, then the junction growth is unlimited, which is practically and highly impossible. So these are the two things what you have to understand. So the dependence of coefficient of friction on the shear strength is shown here. So this is the interference of SI with SO. So as the interference ratio increases, you can see that the coefficient of friction is also increasing from 1 to 2. Here somewhere in between across 0.3, you will be having half the value of coefficient of friction. So this is the condition where half coefficient of friction half value of the coefficient of friction will be equal to the SI ratio, SI to SO ratio of 0.3, because usually the coefficient of friction will be below 1. So when it should be exactly half, you should understand the situation of the material related to the interference of the shear strength. In that case, the ratio of SI to SO will be exactly 0.3. So you can see the variation that as the interference strength increases, the coefficient friction value also increases. If the interference ratio is less, then the coefficient of friction of that specific material is also low. So by looking into the interfacial strength ratio, you can identify what could be the range of the coefficient of friction value for a specific material. Yeah, this is the thing what you have to understand related to the junction growth. So this is the modified adhesion theory. So first we studied about only the adhesion theory made by Borden and Tabor. So it had some drawbacks, right? Because practically they measured coefficient of friction as 0.2 theoretically, but when they measured practically, it was more than the coefficient of friction value which was measured theoretically. So there was a need to make some changes. And the first theory mainly dealt with the soft material only. It didn't focus on the hard material. So there was a need for a generalized theory to evaluate the coefficient of friction, where the theoretical aspect should be equal to that of the experimental value when you do it. For that, there was a very much in need to understand the flow of stresses and the adhesion theory of the frictions. So for that, it was necessary for us to go with the junction growth. And hence we studied what you mean by junction growth, right? At the junction growth, what will be the conditions for the yield stress and how the yield stress will reduce across the normal stress, right? And then with respect to Tresca's criteria, we dealt about the equation between P1, S and P0. And again, with respect to Vollmeier stress, we developed a relationship. And then we substituted P is equal to W by A and S is equal to W by A. After simplification, we got an equation for our shear stress in the form of load and force across the area of the given sample. So to test that and to evaluate an equation for coefficient of friction, then we will consider a small sliding experiment where you have a device subjected to a constant load, right? So then we understood that the coefficient of friction increases as the tangential force increases and the junction growth also increases. But in practical, this will not be possible, right? But we need to say that all material will fail at some shear stress, which is called as SI, and it will be lesser than that of the theoretical shear strength of any bulk material. So based on that, you showed the equation for the maximum force or the maximum tangential force which can be applied to get the failure shear stress. So once the F max is known, you know the W, which is the load applied, and it is constant. It will be in the direction of normal stress. And you know the force now, which is the tangential stress. So once the tangential stress and the load is known, you can easily determine the coefficient of friction, which is nothing but force upon the normal stress. So force divided by a normal stress will yield you the coefficient of friction. So this we studied now. Okay, and also we explained how this minimum shear stress value and the bulk strength varies in evaluating the coefficient of friction. Least the value of the interface ratio, least will be the coefficient of friction. As the interface value, the interface strength ratio increases, the coefficient of friction also increases. And third point, the coefficient of friction maximum usually will be at around 1. And for the half the value of coefficient of friction, the value of SI by S0 will be exactly 0.3. So these are the things what you have to understand in modified addition theory to overcome the drawbacks of actual addition theory derived by Bourdon. So this is about our addition theory. We were speaking about the friction which come across, right, with respect to the interactions of the asperities. So asperities interaction occurs in two ways, I told. One is with respect to the addition and the other one is with respect to the deformation. So when you don't have an addition layer at all, the asperite variation which come across for the friction is nothing but the deformation. So this deformation theory is mainly dealt with respect to the flowing. I'll just take 5 more minutes. Okay, so then you can start up taking quiz and parallelly I can take the attendance. So now it is 12:40, or else this flowing I can start up in the next class because there will be a proper continuity. So now I will request you people to take the quiz immediately, and parallelly I will start. After 5 minutes I will take the attendance. Please kindly take the quiz. It is 12:40. Any doubts in the meantime, you are free to ask. After 5 minutes, I will start attendance. Until then, you kindly take the quiz. Don't leave, stay back in the Google Classroom. I need to take the attendance. Take the quiz immediately. Please attend the classes regularly. Many were not there in the Saturday's class, or else it will be difficult for you to understand the concepts and get a proper continuity. Attendance is very much mandatory. Don't skip any classes. I've just seen one response. Others kindly do it. Parallelly, I will start taking the attendance. Shall I take the attendance or after your quiz? How you suggest?
5 minutes will finish it, ma'am.
After 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 13 responses. What about the others? Be quick. Fourteen responses. $15. 16 response. 17. 18. 19. 20 response. 21. Please stay back until I take the attendance. 22. 23. 24 response. 25. Those who have completed the quiz, type your name and USN in the chat room. But that is not your main attendance. I'll be calling your roll list. 27. That is for documentation purpose. You'll be typing your name and USN. On record, I'll be taking in the attendance register. 27 response. 29 response. 30. Others kindly do it quickly. 31. 'Those who have not attended the classes, say that it will be taken very seriously. Kindly do attend the classes regularly. Answer your attendance now. Akhil KV. Okay. Anil Kumar. Anil Kumar. Absent. Ankesh Aman.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Gautam Krishna.
Yes, ma'am.
Balaji. Balaji VR. Absent. Beldar Mohammed.
Present, ma'am.
Chaitanya.
Present, ma'am.
Chetan Kumar. Okay. Dheeraj.
Present, ma'am.
Ishant. Ishant. Harshit. Harshit. Himanka.
Yes, ma'am.
Kanishka Reddy. Kanishka Reddy. Nagamurali Krishna. Nagamurali Krishna. Absent. Kunal Raj.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Danush. Danush has not attended a single class. Muhammad Ayan. Even he. Kindly ask them to respond me what is the reason. Muhammad Junaid. Okay. Shri Prasad. Shri Prasad. Absent. Niharika.
Yes, ma'am.
Nihar Venkat Sai.
Yes, ma'am.
Nikhil R. Nikhil R. Absent. Nirab.
You can written the chat.
Nikhil has written in the chat. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Nirab is present.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Prajwal.
Ma'am, which Prajwal, ma'am?
Prajwal R. Patil. Okay. Prajwal Bhatt.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Rishabh Pandey.
Present, ma'am.
Rohan. Rohan. Absent. Roshan Yadav.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sumant Sagar.
Present, ma'am.
Sagar Datta.
Present, ma'am.
Sagar GV.
Present, ma'am.
Sanjay Raghav. Sanjay Raghav is absent. Shobit.
Present, ma'am.
Shobit. Okay.
Present.
Both the Siddharth B and Siddharth Sridhar.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Both are there? Okay.
Yes.
Subramanya.
Present, ma'am.
Tirumanu Sethi Rohan.
Yes, ma'am.
Ulas.
Present, ma'am.
Vidyan. Vidyan. Varun.
Present, ma'am.
Pavan.
Present, ma'am.
Danush. Danush is absent. Dhyanesh.
Yes, ma'am.
Gunasagar.
Present, ma'am.
Meghanath Prasad.
Present, ma'am.
Rasik Baran. Rasik Baran absent. Shiva Krishna absent. Shreyas L. See, if you have written in the chat room also, please answer. Srinivasalu.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yogananda. Yogananda M. Absent. Kiran R.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shiva Krishna KV. Shiva Krishna KV. Absent. Gautam Sai. Gautam Sai.
Ma'am, Abdul present, ma'am. My mic wasn't working, ma'am.
Abdul, what is your USN? I think you have joined now.
No, ma'am. I had entered my USN long back, ma'am. My mic wasn't also working.
What's your USN? Abdul?
001, ma'am.
001. You're into which professional elective? Are you into financial management? Yeah. Tribology.
Tribology, ma'am.
No, because your name in the list is not given. It starts with Akhil KV. Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am. I registered for this course, ma'am. Tribology.
Because the list what I received from the office, it shows the list without your name. I haven't entered your name at all. So this is the first class you are attending.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you have opted a change of elective, something like that.
No, ma'am. I had registered for this this elective, ma'am, tribology.
Then why your name is not there? Okay, I'm writing now Abdul. Your USN number, kindly repeat 1BY
17ME001.
17ME001. Today is your first class. Please be regular or else you will get shortage of attendance by default.
Okay, ma'am.
Already 9 classes are over and yours is 1 on 9.
Okay, ma'am.
Don't bunk any please don't bunk any classes.
Okay,
And
ma'am.
and for others also, kindly see that please attend the classes regularly or else the shortage of attendance will be there. It will be posted to your parents. Please see always you have above 85%. That will help you to understand the concepts, get a proper connectivity, to build up your own notes and to excel well finally in your examination as well as internals. Mainly to learn the concepts also. Once your concepts are clear, you will be able to write in your own words. If you don't know the concepts, then only will start mugging. And mugging up will not end you in helping in any way. After examination, you will get forget easily. If you understand the concept and write in your own words, that will be in your brain forever. And that will help you when you go out as an engineer because you'll be knowing the concepts. You haven't mugged up anything, you know the concepts. Then you can at least apply into the reality of any company or organization where you are working. So be serious, listen to the classes, be attentive, fine. So until next class, tomorrow, we have tomorrow the class with you all. Tomorrow is which day? Yeah, we have the very first hour tomorrow. Then we will meet on tomorrow morning at 8:30. Until then, everyone, please take care, be safe. Bye-bye. Roshan, you want to tell something?
No, ma'am. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.